Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something a lot of you are interested in, making homes more sustainable, more energy efficient.
Right.
And we've got a really fascinating technology on the radar today, geothermal HVAC systems.
Mm,
We're going to unpack, how they work and really if they could be a game changer for your home, your comfort, and those energy bills.
definitely. And to do that, we've pulled information from, well, quite a few places.
Mm.
Experts like Hartzell's Heat and Air,
Okay.
official resources from Energy Star, the IRS, also insights from the Department of Energy, and technical details from Water Furnace.
Good sources.
Yeah, the goal is really just to give you a clear, sort of comprehensive look, no jargon, just what this technology is about.
Absolutely. So, okay, the core idea. What is a geothermal HVAC system?
Well, picture this.
Yeah.
Instead of grabbing air from outside, which, can be freezing cold or baking hot,
Right.
you're using the ground. The earth beneath your feet has this pretty consistent moderate temperature.
All year round.
Pretty much, yeah. So you tap into that to both heat your house in the winter and cool it in the summer.
It sounds, I don't know, almost futuristic, but it's real tech.
Oh, it's very real. And the potential for energy savings is significant. Plus, it's much better for the environment.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics then. How does it actually, work day to day?
So the basic principle, like I said, is that the earth, once you get a bit below the surface, stays remarkably stable temperature-wise.
Hmm.
Think of it like a baseline temperature.
Right.
Doesn't really care if it's a heat wave or a blizzard up top.
Okay.
A geothermal system uses that stable temperature. It's a heat source when it's cold.
Right. Pulls heat from the ground.
Exactly. And then it's a heat sink, a place to dump heat when it's hot outside.
So in summer, it pushes house heat into the ground.
Precisely. It's just moving heat back and forth.
Okay, I'm trying to picture that. How does the heat actually get transferred? Is it like, I don't know, burying a giant heating pad, or is there something more to this ground loop thing?
Definitely more sophisticated than a heating pad. The key piece is that ground loop.
Right.
It's basically just a closed loop of pipes. You bury them in the ground, or sometimes if you have a pond or lake, you can submerge them.
Okay, pipes in the ground.
Yeah, and a spectral fluid circulates inside those pipes. As it moves to the earth, it either picks up heat from the ground in winter, or it releases heat to the ground in summer.
Got it. And that fluid then goes where?
It flows to an indoor unit. That's the geothermal heat pump.
Oh, okay.
And that unit acts like a central hub. It uses your regular ductwork, usually, to send that comfortable heated or cooled air through your home.
And this works pretty much anywhere, that stable ground temp.
Yeah, what's really neat is that consistent underground temperature is available almost everywhere nationwide. It's a widely accessible resource.
Okay, so swapping out your old furnace and AC for this, it's a big change. But what are the real tangible upsides for someone thinking about it beyond the cool science?
Oh, the benefits are really compelling. Let's start with the big one. Energy efficiency. Your wallet.
It's always important.
Right. According to both Hartzell's and Water Furnace, you can see savings of up to 70% on your heating and cooling costs.
70%. That's huge.
It is. And get this, Water Furnace points out that for every 1 unit of electricity the system uses,
Yeah.
it can deliver 5 units of energy back into your home.
Wow. 5 for 1.
It's because it's not creating most of the heat like a furnace burning fuel. It's just moving existing heat from the earth. That takes much less energy.
So that's the multiplier effect. It's not just saving money, it's using way less energy overall.
Exactly. You're less reliant on traditional fuels, maybe less vulnerable to price spikes. It makes your home's energy use much more resilient.
Okay, that potential 70% reduction, what really drives those savings? Is it just that stable ground temp?
That's the core of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Think about a traditional air conditioner on a 100-degree day. It's fighting that intense heat.
Right, working hard.
Or a furnace, when it's below zero, it has to generate a lot of heat. A geothermal system starts with that much milder ground temperature, maybe 50, 55 degrees, whatever it is in your area.
Ah, so the difference it needs to make up is much smaller.
Exactly. The heat pump just doesn't have to work as hard. Less work means less energy consumed. Simple as that.
Okay, easier on the bank account, that's clear. What about the environmental side? That's a big driver for many people.
Yeah, and environmentally, these systems are a big win. Much greener.
How so?
Well, they have a lower carbon footprint. They produce fewer greenhouse gas emissions because, fundamentally, most aren't burning fossil fuels right there at your house.
Okay, no on-site combustion.
Right. Both Hartzell's and the Department of Energy really emphasize this. It taps into clean, renewable energy, the Earth's own stored heat.
So direct reduction in air pollution, potentially helping with climate change concern.
Definitely. It's a tangible way to reduce your personal environmental impact.
So saves money, better for the planet. Are there other, like, day-to-day perks people notice?
Oh, absolutely. A big one people rave about is how quiet they are.
Really? Compared to a standard AC kicking on.
Oh, yeah. Hartzell points this out. Incredibly quiet operation. And you get really consistent, even temperatures. No more hot spots and cold spots.
That sounds nice. The thermostat wars might actually end.
Huh, maybe. Plus, the longevity is a major factor.
How long do they last?
The underground loop part, that can last 50 years, sometimes even longer.
50. Seriously.
50 plus, yeah.
Yeah.
The indoor heat pump unit, that's more like 20, 25 years with good maintenance, which is still excellent.
Yeah.
But the buried part, the main infrastructure, decades.
Wow, 50 years. That's
Yeah.
longer than, well, pretty much anything else in a house besides the foundation, maybe?
It's a serious long-term investment in durability.
Definitely speaks to that.
It does. And there's more, too. Things like better indoor air quality.
How does it help with that?
They tend to provide better humidity control, which is huge for comfort and preventing things like mold. And they're compatible with high-end air filtration systems. So, cleaner air inside your home overall.
Nice.
And finally, thinking purely financially again, beyond just the bills, Hartzell's notes it can actually increase your home's property value.
An investment that adds value.
Right. And Water Furnace even suggests a potential return on that investment of like 10 to 20% over the system's life.
So some really solid long-term benefits all around. Okay, let's talk cost, though. That initial investment can be significant. Are there ways to make it less daunting? Incentives, maybe?
Yes, and this is a really important piece right now. The federal government is offering a pretty substantial incentive. It's called the Residential Clean Energy Credit.
Okay.
According to Energy Star, the IRS, DOE, Water Furnace, all the sources mention this, it's currently 30% of the cost.
30%.
Yeah. For systems put into service after 2021 and before 2033. And crucially, there's no upper dollar limit on that credit.
No limit. That's really significant.
It is. Water Furnace also points out you can often combine this federal credit with other energy-related tax credits you might qualify for.
Okay, 30% is great, but does it last forever? Or is that set to change?
Good question. It does have a planned phase down. Energy Star, IRS, DOE all confirm this. It drops to 26% in 2033.
Okay.
And then down to 22% in 2034. After that, it's currently scheduled to expire.
Got it. So there's a window for that maximum credit. And how do you actually claim it? Is there a specific form?
Yes, when you file your taxes, you'll use IRS Form 5695. That's the one for residential energy credits.
Form 5695. Good to remember. Are there specific requirements? Does any geothermal system qualify?
There are criteria, yes. The equipment has to be new, obviously. It needs to be qualified clean energy property. Specifically for geothermal, the heat pump itself needs to be Energy Star certified.
Okay, look for the Energy Star label.
Exactly. And the installation has to be in a home in the U.S. that you use as a resident.
Primary home or second homes, too.
Either your primary home or a second home qualifies, but not rental properties you don't live in.
Right. And what costs count towards that 30%? Just the equipment?
Nope. It includes the cost for the qualified property, the heat pump, and the labor costs for the installation. Site preparation, assembly, installation. That all counts.
That's good because installation is a big part of it, I imagine.
It definitely is.
Now, what about other incentives? You sometimes hear about state programs or rebates from utility companies. How do those work with the federal credit?
That's a really key point. The IRS is specific here. You might need to adjust your calculation based on other money you receive.
Adjust how?
Generally, if you get a rebate directly from, say, your public utility company, and it's tied to buying the system,
Yeah.
you usually have to subtract that rebate amount from your total costs before you calculate the 30% federal credit.
Okay, so the credit applies to your net costs after the rebate.
Basically, yes, for those utility rebates.
Yeah.
But interestingly, state energy efficiency incentives might be treated differently. It depends on the specific state program structure.
Okay, so it gets a little complicated.
It can. That's why both the DOE and Water Furnace recommend checking a specific database. It's called DSIR, the Database of State Incentives for Renewables and Efficiency.
DSIRE.
Yep, it's a place to look for state, local, utility, even other federal incentives. Really comprehensive.
So definitely worth digging into DSIR to see if you can stack savings.
Absolutely. Maximizing all available incentives can make a huge difference on the upfront cost.
Okay, so thinking practically now, for someone listening maybe in Oklahoma where Hartzell's is based, are there specific things they should consider?
Yeah, Hartzell's being local there brings up a few relevant points for Oklahomans. One big one is yard space. You need room for that ground loop.
Right, how much room?
Well, depends. But they stress that even if you have a smaller lot, there are options like vertical loops dug deep instead of wide.
Ah, okay. So space isn't necessarily a deal breaker.
Not always. Other factors they mention are, having that desire for long-term savings, being interested in sustainability, and really valuing that quiet, consistent comfort geothermal offers. If those things resonate with an Oklahoma homeowner, it could be a great match.
And is this mostly for new houses being built, or can you put it into an existing home?
You could definitely do both. New construction and retrofitting existing homes are both common. That's according to Hartzell's and the DOE.
Is retrofitting harder?
It can be more involved, yeah. Mainly because of installing that ground loop in an established yard.
Makes sense.
The DOE really emphasizes getting a professional out there, a qualified geothermal designer or engineer.
To check the site first.
Exactly. They need to assess your property soil, accessibility, all that to figure out the best, most cost-effective way to install the loop for a retrofit.
Good advice. Get an expert assessment. Now, you mentioned Hartzell's Heat and Air a few times. For our listener in central Oklahoma, what makes them a good resource?
Well, they really focus on geothermal. They talk about having specialized training, certifications just for these systems.
So not just a regular HVAC company dabbling in it.
Seems that way. They highlight designing custom systems, engineering the ground loop specifically for your property based on site evaluations, heat load calculations.
Tailored approach.
Right. And they mentioned doing the precision installation, plus ongoing service and repairs, which is important for specialized tech.
Do they work with major brands?
Yes. They mentioned being an authorized dealer for Climate Master GeoLead systems, and also having a lot of experience with water furnace systems, another big name.
Okay. And where do they operate?
Their service area covers Oklahoma City, Kingfisher County, and the surrounding central Oklahoma areas.
And how can people reach them?
They provide a phone number, 405-449-5897, and an email, office@hartzellsheetair.com.
Got it. So a direct line to local expertise for anyone in that region who's curious. All right. So bringing this all together, if you've been listening, what are the absolute key things to take away from our deep dive today?
I'd say the core message is this. Geothermal HVAC is a serious contender. It offers, one, potentially huge long-term savings on energy bills.
Up to 70%.
Right. Two, real environmental benefits.
Yeah.
Uses renewable earth energy, lowers your carbon footprint.
Run plus.
Three, enhanced comfort. Quiet, even heating and cooling. And four, that durability, especially the loop.
50 years, yeah.
And critically, that 30% federal tax credit available right now makes the upfront investment much more manageable.
No cap on that, which is key.
Exactly. And for folks in central Oklahoma, you have local specialists like Hartzell's who really know this technology inside and out, ready to help guide you.
So it's clear this technology has really significant potential. It could genuinely shift how we heat and cool our homes. As we wrap up, it kind of leaves you thinking, doesn't it? With that mix of saving money and helping the planet, could tapping into the Earth's own energy be, well, the smartest investment you make for your home's future and maybe the future?
It's a powerful question.
Definitely worth exploring more if efficiency, sustainability, and long-term value are on your mind. We really encourage you to check out those resources we mentioned.
Hartzell's website, Energy Star, the IRS site for those tax credit details.
Right, the Department of Energy for general info, and definitely that DSIR database for state and local incentives.
Yeah, do the homework for your specific situation.
See if geothermal might just be the right fit for you.